Today I'm here with Andres, and we're up in the hills of
Rojales. Lopepin.
Lopepin, yeah. Rojales is it's with a J in English and a H in Spanish. So for those that want to Google it later.
Rojales.
So we're just going to talk about how you found life here in Spain since you've been here. So tell us a bit about yourself. What brought you to Spain? What you love about it and what you hate about it?
Yeah, well, it's difficult to hate anything about it, other than the bureaucracy and the slow motion on the civil service. But the rest is all a plus. It's on the plus side, And then, and what happens was that I have been living in half of the world already without wanting it.
Yeah.
I lived in Colombia, then I lived in America, then on my way back to Europe, I was supposed to come to Italy, but then some friends brought me to London because there was more work in London than in southern Italy. And then I ended up in London like 15 years ago, lived there for 14, 15 years. And then by the time I thought, well, this is the place where I want to be. But then all the prices started going up, rental prices, and then penalty fines all over the place just by moving, just by the sake of moving on your car, different cameras everywhere. And then I found it unaffordable whilst I was working 16 hours a day. And then I couldn't afford to buy a property there because of the different type of tenures that are there, with regards of the soil. You have freehold, leasehold, common hold.
Yeah.
Couldn't understand that, and neither I could understand the different types of mortgages, which are 12, and people don't know that there are 12 different types of mortgages. So I said, well, this is too intricate for me to enter into. And then I said, well, it's more straightforward for me to invest in Italy, in Spain. I wanted to invest in Italy, but then the prices were very high as well. And then I said, well, I'm better off in Spain. I know the language, I am a lawyer, I understand the law in Spain. It's a good location, I love the food. And then that's it, and then it was a no-brainer.
So, what you found difficult when moving to Spain? What would you say were the biggest problems you faced relocating here? Is it finding work, or is it paperwork, or whatever?
The only problem I would say I found is simply that the residency dealing you have to do with a copper, with a policeman.
I think it's like a roulette wheel.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have to actually do the paperwork, and you are in the hands of a policeman with a gun, in his waist. And then on that basis, you say, well, sometimes. How can a policeman be doing office tasks? Administration tasks, and then that's the only thing that I couldn't square up in my mind, and then I have to go once again, because one day they say A, the next day they say B, it depends on. So I understood that, as I told you, you have to play with their mood, you have to be persistent, and then obviously if you have the problem with the language barrier,
it's a bigger problem.
Exactly. At the end you have to bear in mind that you will tie them up. They will get rid of you anyhow, as long as you can demonstrate that you are not going to be a burden in the system, because the system is already struggling.
But I do think it's important that you go there well prepared, even the documentation, because the way we did it is we got the requirements form, plus the extra stuff, because they don't just ask you for what's on the form they give you. They then ask you for this, bank statements, there's a lot of stuff that they just add. So what I did is I created a folder where that was the first sheet, but then I put a letter on the front of that explaining why I'm in Spain, what I'm looking for, and more importantly, just tell me exactly what you need in sort of like a pleading way almost, just to say, give me what you give me the right. But even then, I went and seen the guy in December because we got rejected again in November, so I went in December again, and because I had this letter, he was okay. He said, just book an appointment. The crazy thing was, when I booked the appointment, I got there, and they sent me to a different desk, and I'm thinking, oh no, not a different guy.
Yeah.
But I sat down, and then the guy went through it, and he says, I don't do residency.
Right.
So he got me to go to the other guy. That was like, I was glad of that, because the last thing I needed them to go through it again and go, oh, I want this, because I'm a different guy.
Exactly.
So it's definitely not straightforward.
No, it's not.
But I think it's got more difficult over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But I mean, do you think it's a refugee issue? What do you think is causing it?
Oh, it's mainly the economical situation, and then obviously they want to make sure, whilst they have to abide by the European regulations and the directives of sharing, of allowing free movement of people and goods and all the stuff, whilst abiding by that, on one side they say, yes, we know that we have to follow these rules and we have to do this process with the European people. But on the other hand, what they do is they try to make it difficult, simply because obviously they have to protect their own turf. But I wouldn't say is because of the immigrant influx, because as the UK, they have been receiving migrants for 100 years.
Well, I would say it's more culturally accepting, because the thing I find in the UK is everything's becoming very anti-immigrant because of the media, but at the same time in Spain, if you arrive with nothing, they don't give you anything anyway.
That's right.
So
they don't see you as a liability, nor a burden.
Yeah, because they're not going to give you anything anyway.
Exactly. You have to make your way through. You know?
Don't you have to work so many years to be entitled to unemployment benefit?
That's right. Yeah, and 2 years at least.
Yeah. So
and then they give you only unemployment benefits, which is here El Paro, for only 2 years.
Yeah, so you have to. Yeah,
after 2 years they suspend the payments.
So you're probably getting back what you're putting in anyway.
That's right.
That's
right. It's a mainly contributory system.
Yeah. So that's one of the big things in Spain. They're not giving anything away free, and I think that's where there's a major difference. But I think that do you find that there's any racism issues in Spain that you've come across?
Yes, they might be, because they might be quite altruistic as well as any other ex empire. You know, they were an empire, and then when you have royals within you, then you tend to be like that, you know, because you feel better than anybody else.
But have you seen much of it though?
No, I was expecting, because I am with a Latin American background. My Spanish is Latin American, and I think in that regard, in Spanish, I think as a Latin American, not as a Spaniard.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, I thought, I'm going to face bad prejudice, and prejudices and stuff, you know. But I will say that through the crisis, they finally learned some humility.
Yeah.
And then when you learn humility, you tend to try to treat everybody equally, you know. And I haven't had any problem, no my wife, no my daughters. Whilst in the UK, sometimes we were seen a little bit different.
Yeah, I think it's a lot more common in the UK, because I found it myself. I mean, I'm from the UK originally anyway, but I find people have their own issues, but I think some of the problem is the way people integrate in the UK compared to Spain. Because Spain doesn't really have big communities where we are anyway, where they go, well, this is Chinatown, this is this. Everybody's in it together, and I think that's, you know, everybody becomes part of a community then, where if people start building their own little towns, then it's obviously going to become an issue, because it's being allowed to become one. But yeah, I would say that here I haven't experienced any issues. If anything, my children have really integrated well here. How have you found your kids at the school? How did it compare to the UK? Or
in the UK, because we lived both in London and in Berkshire, and you can never generalize. So in London, they were another number, you know? And obviously sometimes they didn't have any problems, you know. But when we moved to Berkshire, they felt, my eldest daughter felt a little bit on the side, you know. But not often, but sometimes, you know. Then she ended up thinking, well, if we had the possibility to move to Spain because we have a house in Spain, I look more like a Spaniard than a British.
Yeah.
And then she thought to herself, I might settle better within Spaniards than within British, even though she speaks perfect English. You know?
Yeah.
And I appreciate that they learned the British way of thinking.